How's it going, listeners? This is Link, and you're listening to Lynk-On Media Podcast. I'm here with my bro Trey. Trey, what's going on?
What's going on, man? I've been on this podcast like consistently now. It feels like it's my second job at this point.
Yeah, I think we may have to make it official at some point. So, what we're here to talk about is movies we've seen this month. We're in the month of June at the time of recording. The last movie both of us have seen, I think, is The Flash.
Yes.
And well, we'll talk about a few movies that came out this month, some of the big ones, and maybe a couple of TV shows. But our main event will be The Flash and how uh it's a pretty interesting sort of movie. It's definitely the most overhyped, and it was one that I was very excited to see. I'm a big old school Flash fan, and I think the movie kind of reminds me of some like Daredevil or one of those early Marvel, like the Fantastic Four, which they haven't really back in the day when they didn't figure out the special effects and the how they were going to do it, and they were just like, it kind of feel like that because the CGI is that bad. But anyways, we're gonna
Mm.
get into it. What else have you seen this month?
Recently I've seen Into the Spider-Verse because that came out like roughly around the same time. I saw that before
Right.
I saw The Flash. So I went to see The Little Mermaid with my family, with my nieces, but I couldn't stay the whole movie because I had to like leave for an emergency. But for what that's also the thing I've seen. I've seen half of that. And I was gonna see Transformers, but then work got busy. But I still want to see it because I've heard like not bad things, but I've heard like it was okay.
Yeah, I would say I skipped Little Mermaid. I was actually going to watch it so I could probably talk about it on a video, and I just asked my wife, like, do you really want to go see it? And she's like, nah. She's off of the Disney remakes, and I was the one that was sort of like, well, I'd watch it if she goes, and she didn't want to go, so I'm just like, well, I mean, I have
Yeah.
no nieces to go with. I'm not going to go by myself. So, what did you think about it? Like when you saw it?
The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
I honestly like it wasn't bad. Like it actually wasn't bad. Like for a Disney movie for what it was, I think let me get to I don't think Disney should be doing remakes anymore. I think it's overdone and they're just running out of ideas and they want to get a cash cut of it. Fine, do whatever. But for what this was, it was pretty good. If I look at it from just like a movie itself, and if I saw the reactions of like what my family saw, I think it was good. The effects could have been a lot better. Hallie, I forget her last name, but Hallie, who plays the Little Mermaid, Ariel, she is great. I hate, I hate what they did with Sebastian. They just
Mm,
ruined him. Uh,
damn, my boy
they
David.
yeah they
Um, David was from Hamilton. He's the one who did the voice for that character, and I was sort of like kind of dreading it.
yeah he got done dirty in that. Uh,
Ooh, I don't want
yeah
to hear
he
that.
Yeah, he got done dirty, but you know what? Like for his voice acting is always like his acting overall is still good. But I still can't get over of like how much backlash this movie got just for like just existing. It's insane.
If it came out in a vacuum, I don't think it would have, like, nobody would care. Like,
No.
honestly, like they did this like 20 years ago with Cinderella with Whitney Houston and Brandy, right?
Yes.
And back then, like, I mean, Disney didn't really have issues with, laws in certain states or whatever, and they
Hmm.
like the quote unquote woke thing wasn't a thing, and they weren't like all into the activism. They weren't getting into like activist situations and just actually telling stories and stuff like that. So nobody gave a damn about a Black Cinderella when Brandy did it. You know what I mean? Like it
Right.
was just, we're telling the same story, but with a hip hop flavor, like a R&B type flavor. And it was like, okay, well, that's cool, because it was Whitney Houston and Brandy. It wasn't like, oh, we're, doing this thing because we want to see black faces. No, it was like the biggest acts of the time.
Yeah.
And that's what we sort of responded to. So for me, I just, I mean, I'm not opposed to like a remake every once in a while, but since they're just having the rollout, like it's a conveyor belt of them, and a lot of them are kind of changing the story so it could be like a little bit more like, oh, well, the woman doesn't need no man or something like that. Like that kind of thing. I'm just like, well, if you're going to do that, then why even tell these stories? These stories are like old, and from like the guy who wrote this is like, I don't even know how many years ago this was, but it was probably like 100 years or so. And the
Right.
guy who wrote it was what his name was Hans Christian Andersen. Like that is the most white guy name ever. So just taking these old stories and then trying to like change them for today, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like just I don't know, make new stories or make stories that are more acceptable to certain cultures. Like different
Pleasurable.
cultures have like different cultures have their own stories, and I would like to see those stories rather than, oh, another Aladdin, or oh, another Little Mermaid, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like for example, I think the new Pinocchio, not the Disney version, but the Del Toro version, far
Hmm.
superior. Great movie. I still haven't finished seeing it, but like what I saw is probably one of the most creative films. And then you compare that to the Disney Pinocchio with Tom Hanks. It's
Right.
incomparable. Like Del Toro wins again. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
so I don't know. It's and plus the trailers don't really look good to me. And I know the old movie so much that if I see something different, I'm just gonna be like, oh, why'd they do that? Why they change it like that? What? And then seeing it in 3D and seeing it like and they try to make it very realistic. It
Right.
never looks good to me.
Right.
I think Lion King was big on that because they were doing like I remember the song number I just can't wait to be king, and I just hated it because it was just a couple of lines running around and it didn't have the flavor of the original. You know what I'm saying? There's only so much a live cub can articulate his mouth to sing I just can't wait to be king and be excited about his father dying, and
Yeah,
then when Mufasa dies, like that just seems so dull to me because it was just
really.
the expressiveness of the animals weren't there. And that's how I feel like because I saw a picture of Flounder and I'm like, oh God.
Oh yeah, the flounder. Oh God, I forgot about that stupid thing. So I seen that, and my niece, like she's about like 5, and she asked me, like she literally asked me, "Is that the fish?" And I go, "I think so." Like I didn't actually know how to answer because like I can't shit on it and say like, "Oh, like the CGI like was great." Like for what they were trying to do, like yeah, go ahead. But if you're trying to make an iconic character from the Little Mermaid, come on, man. Like you gotta do better than that.
Well, who do you think? Which character did got the most dirty? Like, I think Scuttlebutt. Scuttlebutt looks awful, and
I
just having Aquafina as Scuttlebutt,
I still think Sebastian got done the worst, man.
really.
I really think so because you know what? I think there are people on the internet that were arguing about like saying, "Oh, like having it like realistic is fine." And I'm thinking, we're talking about fucking mermaids here and like underwater mermaid people talking to like does realism have to be anything? Like do you remember when they tried to make Sonic the Hedgehog like somewhat realistic? The fans got outraged of how he looked and the studio went, "Okay, we'll fix it." And it made him look like the cartoon character but
It
except
was
with like
like as soon
yeah,
as you saw his teeth, you were like,
as soon
no."
as I saw anything, I was like, Jesus Christ, what the hell is this demon thing?
Putting a cartoon in real life, it's very. I
It's hit
mean,
or miss.
it's more miss than hit. Like to be honest, I mean,
You're right.
like if you look at the Disney classics, not only the Disney classics, but look at anime. Look at all
Mm.
the Netflix anime live action adaptations
Oh
that
my
are just
God.
so. I mean, I don't even have to tell you about it. I don't have to. You
No,
know,
you
you
don't.
you already know.
Yep, I did. I went through like a lot of suffering when I saw. I tried to stomach going through watching Death Note. Jesus Christ,
And
I actually
and I
damn.
saw that first, and I told you I was like, well, this is a pretty cool idea. And then I saw the anime, and I was like, oh, that movie's shit. That
Yep.
movie's terrible. Oh, no.
It wasn't even like I don't want to get onto this topic, but like all I'm gonna say
Yeah,
is like when Netflix or any other platform tries to make an like a real life animated version of things, like they try so hard to steer away from the animated magic that is anime. And you know how in certain like animes, like you can watch and never and know an iconic moment and it had nothing to do with the fact it was anime. It was just like the magic of like the characters actually giving a shit.
yeah.
They just stopped that. I don't, and they make it look like Riverdale Part Three. It's amazing what they do with it.
I mean, they do. It does look like Riverdale. It does have a Riverdale kind of flavor to it. I believe that a lot of these shows are done by people who may have seen like a couple episodes of the anime and probably just looked at a Wikipedia page and then just sort of do it. I, I mean, the Halo. Well, this is video games, but I mean, the creators of Halo once said that they don't play the video games, and I mean, we saw how that turned out. So it and
Do you
then
think? Do you think? I think we talked about this on a previous pod, but like, does this just like justify like Hollywood's attempt to just get cheap writers that don't give a shit about the product just to push the product out?
the people who get these things, they don't like do it because they're a fan of the thing. They just need like, well, what do we got? What do we got? Like, if something
Right.
gets popular, the other people are like searching for like, well, okay, what do we have to adapt to like the audience likes video game movies again. What do we have? What do we got? What do we have? You know, when Sonic got popular and then Mario just blew up the bank. You know, I'm sure a lot of people are looking at, well, do we have Crash Bandicoot? Like who has that? Yeah, and then they're pushing for the new Mortal Kombat, and then they're doing this and that, and I think I heard someone says something about Street Fighter. It's gonna
Mm,
be, and they're gonna flood the market. Same thing that what they did with the comic book movie thing. I really think we are in a time where it's gonna go out like disco, and that's gonna bring us to the Flash in a little bit. But
yeah.
yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it, and I just think Disney's just have going through all of these. They're not really great in the public eye right now. So I just think everything that they put out will have a great number of hate, regardless of what it is. It's if it's Star Wars, it's gonna get hate. The new Indiana Jones is coming out and it's already getting hate, and actually hate from the critics this time. So which is
Yes.
crazy because we saw critics give like She-Hulk like 95% and all that craziness.
Yep.
And then now it's like they're actually saying, "Oh, Indiana Jones isn't it's not it's not good." And I'm like, "Wow. Then it
Did,
must have been really bad."
did you see in the news that like Disney is gonna sell Star Wars back to George Lucas?
Is it confirmed? Because I just
I
saw
don't
it as a rumor.
I don't know, but I saw it and it got me to like a place where like I got excited for maybe 2 seconds, and then I was like, "It's the damage is already done. Like, what else can we really do?"
Yeah,
It's not. I don't
they're
want to get. Yeah, I don't want to get on the topic, but like, I just like that just popped up, and I just went, "It's done. I don't care anymore." You know what I mean?
I think I'm there too. I think that's where I'm at. I just don't believe like just to the thought of leaving my house, going to a cinema to watch a Star Wars movie, paying like $18 or whatever it costs now. I just don't see myself getting hyped up to do that. Like on opening day, like every opening day when a Star Wars movie would come out, I was there.
Right.
I went to every single prequel on opening day. I went to two of the movies in back when I was in Toronto, they had like the showings in I forgot the name of the hall, but it's
The Cathedral Hall.
yeah, I forgot the name of it, but it's where the orchestra plays the music while the movie is playing.
Yes, I know what you mean. Yes, yes.
Yeah, so I went to two of those. That and Empire. Empire was fantastic. Oh my god, it was great. And I don't think if there's any new Star like all of the new Star Wars news that I've heard for movies coming out, and I don't even know if they're gonna ever come out. Like to be honest, like I really I don't know.
Right.
I have no hope in them coming out, and if they do come out, I don't know if I'm gonna go.
Like, do you just like are you at the point where you don't care, or are you just like as a fan you've gotten your heart broken so many times?
As a fan, as a moviegoer, I just feel like, I mean, there has to be a point where I need to get, I need to do something else. I need to watch something else. I can't just keep coming to the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
I think when you have a long running series or whatever, there is a point where you're going to have to be like, okay, I think I should disembark here.
Right.
Like The Walking Dead or, Grey's Anatomy, which I used to be a fan of.
Really?
Well, I have a wife, so, you know,
Oh, that okay, okay. So
I've I've
you're not the fan. You got dragged into it.
I got dragged into it. I got dragged into it,
There you go.
but I stuck around. I stuck around. It's not like Twilight where I was doing it out of obligation
Was
and
it a guilty pleasure?
suffering from it. What? Twilight or
No, no, no,
Grey's?
Grey's Anatomy, because like you and your wife watched it as good couples should, and you didn't was a fan of it, but when it came on and your wife was with you, you didn't mind watching it.
Yeah, I didn't mind watching it. It
Okay,
was,
so it's more or less like it's what I like to call like couple shows. It's not something you watch on your own. It's something
yes.
you rather just watch with your partner.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Okay, so yeah.
long time ago, with one of my exes, I used to watch like Desperate Housewives or something like that. Just
The last show I'd expect you to watch.
yeah, a lot of people say that, but it was good. And you know what it was? I thought what's her name was hot. Shoot, I forgot her name. Not Terry Hatcher, but Terry Hatcher was pretty hot too.
She was hot too.
Yeah. The God. And I had her name. She's the one who directed the Flaming Hot movie, the movie about the Flaming Hot Cheetos guy. I forget. Eva Longoria. Eva Longoria.
Hold on, let me look at.
Beautiful. She's beautiful. She's the mother of I think she was in what movie, boy? That Dora the Explorer movie. She was the mother in that. Yeah. Beautiful
Uh,
woman. Beautiful woman. And she's I thought she did a good job with the movie she directed, The Flaming Hot. I'm gonna do a review on that a little
mhm.
later. So, but what were we talking about? I got such
We
I think
we
it was
were
Little Mermaid.
we talked about Little Mermaid. We talked about Disney. That's how we got
Yeah.
into Star Wars.
Yeah, and well, were you ever gonna watch Elemental? Like, did your nieces want to watch that?
No, they never they knew about it, but they didn't want to watch it. No.
Well, there you go. Well, and Pixar is in the shitter now too. It's oh man, it's so
I haven't
sad
been
over there.
I haven't been paying attention to a lot of Pixar stuff.
I can't remember the last. I remember the last thing I saw was something about a Vespa in a
Really?
yeah. There was a Vespa, and I think Tom Holland was the main guy, and I
Oh,
stopped watching it. I just got bored because I'm like,
you just
I'm
said
the yeah. What you're saying?
you just said Tom Holland, and that reminded me of something that happened last night. It was regarding Zendaya. It's actually a movie thing, so let me get this real quick. So, Zendaya is in this new movie. It's called Challengers. Have you seen the trailer for it?
I've seen it on IG. I saw pictures of it.
Okay, so and I'm a bit short summary of it is it's a tennis story about like a female who went from a tennis player to a coach, but she's intertwined in the triangle of these two gentlemen. So I saw the trailer. It started off as a porn, and then it got into like some like sports shit. So
I just saw the picture of her kissing two dudes, and I was like, I'm
yep,
in.
that's it. That's the first 20 seconds of this trailer to establish what this is. Okay, so like it's one of these movies where it reveals the whole story within a trailer. Basically, it's one of
Right.
those.
Yeah.
So as I'm watching this, I'm like, okay, this looks interesting. Outside of like the love triangle, I don't give a shit about that because Zendaya actually looks like a tennis player. Like I feel like she genuinely gave a shit about what she was doing here. But anyway, as I'm watching this, I'm looking at the comments. I am hearing memorial testaments for Tom Holland because that's I'm assuming that's still his girlfriend, just like doing this as an actress. And I thought to myself, you know what? I probably couldn't take that either. Like this would be weird to watch.
But, I mean, Tom Holland's going to be kissing on girls too. So it's like,
But
you're an actor. You got
his
to be.
his last love interest has been Zendaya.
I know.
And even like in his last roles that he was doing like actual mature stuff. One, he was a serial R word, like serial
Oh,
Baptist. Yeah, yeah, serial Baptist.
really?
Yeah, he was. I forget it was on Apple Plus. I forget what movie it's called, but it was based on a true he played a true based on a true character story, yeah. And he was a serial Baptist with a multiple personality disorder.
Wow. Interesting.
And the other movie, like he was on the run and he was with this underage girl. So like he's being cast in a lot of psychological
What the
characters.
hell? Who would allow him to do that?
Because you
Right.
know what, you know what, I'll give Tom credit where credit's due. I don't like him as Spider-Man, but him as like drama filled character, he's damn good. He is damn good.
All right. I'll take your word for it, man. I mean, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Why
but Zendaya, she has this really unfair, like she's grown like she's not cast as a teenager anymore. Basically, I'm trying to say. And
Right. She's definitely grown.
yes, and the first indication was Malcolm and Marie.
I don't think I've seen that.
Oh, dude, it gives every like toxic couple PTSD moments. It's a
Oh,
real
wait, isn't that with Denzel Washington's son?
yes, it is.
Ah, yes. I heard about that. I actually wanted to watch that.
So
like a COVID type of movie where it's only
yes,
like two actors.
and I'm telling you right now, do
Yeah.
not watch that with your wife. Don't. No, no, no.
Because
Go ahead, go
why?
ahead. Because I was gonna say she's gonna hear one of the lines that Zendaya says and go, "Yeah, why did you do that?" Like she'll turn to you and verbally say it to you.
Wait, did Val do that?
Uh, on one line, yes,
All right. Well, I'll put that on a list. There's a few lists that you shouldn't watch with your wife or
yes,
girlfriend. All right. So moving on. So Little Mermaid is you say it's fine.
yes,
I'm probably gonna wait until streaming, and that's if I decide to make a video on it and
right,
whatever. I'm not into demographic, so it's whatever. It's whatever to me.
fair.
Have you seen the reviews for? I just want to touch on this quickly. The reviews for the weekend show, The Idol.
Yes, and I've actually seen an episode.
You've seen it,
Yes,
and it's terrible, right?
very bad, like
Ooh,
Euphoria bad.
Euphoria bad. Like Euphoria season 2 bad.
Euphoria season one, just where you get introduced to everything and you
That's an
start to
acceptable bad though. I like this the first season. The second season's
um
terrible.
Link, let me put it in a way where it sounds like it makes sense. So you said this years ago that
Yeah.
directors are having a fetish with trying to put porn into TV shows and get away with it.
Yeah.
This is one of these shows, and I'm not exaggerating this. There's a line, I'm pretty sure you saw this online, where The Weeknd says a line out
Yeah.
loud to a woman. It made me physically sick hearing him talk. He's not a good actor. And I love The Weeknd
Oh.
as a musician.
Yeah.
I think he's a creative and musical genius, but this motherfucker cannot act at all.
Wow. It's a train wreck, huh?
It's I wouldn't call it a train wreck because a train wreck would mean that there's some redemption. This is like
Well, I can't wait to see it.
you're gonna enjoy it for sure.
All right. You were able to catch Extraction 2, right?
Yes,
All right, so that's going to be one of my the movies I'm going to do a review on, but what you gave it like a what, a 10?
I gave it a 10. Yeah,
It's better than the first one?
I would say so. Yeah, I didn't really compare the two just because like
Yeah.
they're so different, and I forgot what the first one was about. But
Yeah.
I just watched it. Like literally, I saw Instruction 2. Like as I'm just searching through Netflix, looking for something to watch. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just watch this. And I can really say I enjoyed it. Like throughout the entire thing, I actually enjoyed for what it was.
You know, that first one, I think that first one was just so well done, well put together. Action
Hmm.
scenes were great, stunt work impeccable, that kind of thing. It's very rare in like streaming action movies where it's that good. Like I still hold it very high. Like I saw Ghosted the other day,
Oh.
and I'm when you compare that to that, like Ghosted is
Hmm.
sort of the level where these movies can be on, where like the special effects aren't really that great, like they don't, because it, I guess because it's streaming, they just say, well, whatever, we'll just, I don't know, there is a quality shift, like I don't know if you saw the Gray Man.
No, I know about it, but I haven't seen it. No.
Yeah, it's like I thought the writing was on it was good because there's good dialogue in it, but
Right.
I just there were just certain special effects sequences that were just so like fake, and I'm like, this should be like a mid-level action scene. Like this should be, a little bit more real.
Right.
You can get away with a lot of stunt work in this type of thing, and just seeing like a very CGI sequence of like a skydiving sequence, especially after seeing Mission Impossible, the one Fallout, with that fantastic Tom Cruise scene where he's falling to save Henry Cavill.
Hmm.
Like it it just bugs me when like I see an action sequence where you're like, ah man, this other guy did it way better. But then again, Tom Cruise has the money to do that. Like he pays off
Yeah.
his insurance, he could pay off all of that stuff, so he can do all that stuff. And nobody's on that level. That's the problem. Nobody's on a Tom Cruise level. And I think Extraction, while not on that level, it's still like really good. I think Chris Hemsworth, he's so much better than in this than like the Thor films, like the later Thor stuff. I find. What was that giggle?
I I still can't get over Thor 4, man. I'm sorry. I can't.
God,
It feels like
but
a fever dream when I woke up angry.
it does feel like a fever dream, like just a terrible, terrible fever dream. I will see Extraction 2, and that video is going to be coming out like sometime next week after I deal with the ones with the Flash and Spider-Man and Transformers and all that. My docket is really full. So, anyways, Transformers. You didn't see that one. You're about to see that one, right?
Yes.
I think it's good. I think it's really good. I mean, the lowest bar possible is that you can make a better Transformers than Michael Bay. And but I also think that's sort of a boon, and it's also it's a good thing. It's also a bad thing because
Explain.
Michael Bay just has that different style that you can't really replicate it.
Yeah.
People try. People have been trying for years, but Michael Bay is just so tuned in to making like such beautiful, glorious destruction, and no one can do it.
He has an eye that a lot of directors don't have.
No, no, he doesn't. And how he runs his sets, and him being able to get the shots in the quickest time possible. Like you need the craziest film crew to follow this man. It's insane. I just think in terms of character work, in terms of storytelling, especially with the Transformers films, not that great. I really don't care. I don't think he cares about Transformers at all. He doesn't care about the lore or anything like that. He's just like, I want to blow up Paris. I want to blow up. I want to blow up the pyramids. I want give me places so I can blow up. And that's the story. The writers have to just write around that. It's like, well,
Yeah.
Michael Bay wants to blow up London today, so we're gonna have to put that in the script somehow.
Michael Bay wants to create a robot 911. How can we write around that?
Yeah, that's basically how it goes. And you can't really have a good story working around that. And I think with well, Bumblebee, I think is still the best Transformers movie that has been made. I
Oh, I no, no, no.
We will disagree on this,
Yeah, we'll
but
disagree
you
on
know
this.
what? But I am right.
No, you're not, but it's fine.
Which one's the best? What's the best Transformers movie? Tell me.
Number three.
The third one.
Yes.
The first hour of that movie is deplorable. Like
Yes, it's the yes. It's
it is some of the
deplorable.
worst Michael Bay stuff. I mean, Ken Jeong with the guns that he pulls out from his desk, and he's like, "Oh, you messed with the wrong one today." Like, come on now,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
no, sir,
yes, but I'm not gonna deny like it has like
no,
its Michael Bay
sir.
isms with flaws, but like for the final, I want to say the next 2 hours, the most action-packed Transformers war that you're ever gonna see.
Okay, I would say this: the final hour is probably some of the best Transformers action. I'll give you that
Okay,
one.
all
How
right, all
about
right, all
that?
right. Yes, fine. Let's. I'll go with that. Fine.
In terms of storytelling, in terms of just you know not being taken over by Michael Bay craziness, I would say
Yes.
Bumblebee is a little bit more my speed.
Then yeah, yes, I'll agree with you on that. Yes.
Yeah, and I think this new Transformers movie, the director is Stephen Caple Jr. So Stephen Caple Jr. He did Creed 2, which I think
Mm-hmm.
is a really good Creed. Like it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
He just gets it. He gets it and he's able to bring in like that since it's set in the 90s and it's set in Brooklyn, like there's like this great vibe of early 90s hip hop and the soundtrack is really good. Like it's probably one of the best soundtracks for a movie since Guardians. And yeah, man, I love it. I can't wait when he makes another one and then he sets it to like 97 or 99 and then it's all DMX. Like I can't wait for that. Like what they really want. Decepticons, Autobots
Yeah.
roll out. What they really want, you know? I I'm I'm down for that. I think they did a good job with Transformers. Maybe when you see it, we'll talk about it on the next one. But yeah, I honestly do think it's good. I think it's probably under Bumblebee, um, maybe on the same level with the animated Transformers movie, better than all the Michael Bay ones.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll go with that narrative. Okay.
Yeah, but I do agree with you. I think which one was it? Dark of the Moon. It has
Yes.
some of the best Optimus Prime action. It's like Michael Bay is still sick. Like
Yeah.
no one does a transforming action scene better than him.
Yep.
Different spider people, and there's in Mumbai spider Mum Hatton. How did they say it? Mumbai Hatton, like
Wait,
the
are you talking about
Indian Spider
the
Man, and
oh, I don't know, and I don't want to butcher that to sound racist, so I don't know. I'm just
well,
saying like
he's the Indian Spider Man,
yeah,
basically,
yes.
which is fantastic. When that came, like I'm married to an Indian woman,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been learning a lot about the culture from my mother-in-law, and there's certain things like when he said that why do people say chai tea? That's basically saying tt. Like you don't
Did
say that.
did you
Like
learn
just little
that?
cultural thing. Well, yeah, that's well my mom-in-law told me that. That
Oh,
very thing. Like
like
you
even
don't say cha tea.
like
It's
even
like saying nan
before
bread, you know?
people say that. I've heard tons of people say that.
Really?
I've
Why
heard
would they
tons
say that?
because they don't know. It's very strange. And did you hear about the chai tea thing before the movie thing? Like your mother-in-law just basically said that to you, like, why do you call it chai tea when it's just the same thing?
Yeah, she told me that. I heard it from quite a few people. Like people who are not in the know just think chai is just another version of tea, but it is tea. So
Yeah.
it's basically like black tea, you know.
I,
So
yeah, I knew about it, but like I just completely forgot about it. So I just don't say chai tea. But like when I heard that, I'm like, oh yeah, we don't say that.
right, exactly. It's just little nods like that just sort of make it work, and it's just so packed. Like there's so much things going on in the movie. I only have like one big problem with the movie, and that's well, it I mean it's the middle chapter syndrome, you know? It doesn't really have an ending because I like structure in my movies, and I did feel like they were trying to pad it so it fills like the 2 hours. There's certain scenes in this movie that felt a little too long for me. So and then but when it gets to the ending, I'm like, oh, okay, so they're stretching it out so they can make another movie later on.
I
So
think I
that's the
know.
only thing.
I think I know
Yes, it
exactly what I think I know exactly what scenes you're talking about too, because I noticed that too.
yeah. That's sort of like the issue that I have with it. I do love the artwork in this. There was that initial fight with Gwen and the Vulture, and the Vulture was sort of made out of paper. Like how they were able to incorporate that type of style within this other style, and it should clash, but it just fits so well.
Yeah.
And then when Miguel O'Hara pops up, who is awesome, by the way, Oscar Isaac
Yes.
is such a good actor. Oh my god, like people keep saying that it was the other guy, it was Kylo Ren, Adam Driver who carried those Star Wars sequels. No, Oscar
Oh,
Isaac, Oscar Isaac carried those movies, man. Like he carried them on his back. He had a terrible plot line and he worked with what he had and he made those movies, man. Oscar
he's a
Isaac is my dude.
he's a phenomenal actor, like all around.
And I did not expect him to have that vocal power in the movie. Like the man
Oh,
just kills it. Like when like that whole chase scene at the end. Jesus.
that was you know what? Even his backstory is the reason why he's doing what he's doing made sense.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
it
it
was pretty
wasn't
good.
like it wasn't like some cliche like I'm doing this for the sake of humankind and blah blah. He's doing it for an actual righteous cause. It made sense.
Yeah, and
But
I but you can also see Miles Morales' side too, because it's like you're telling me I have to well, I mean I guess we're gonna put spoilers up or stuff like that. He
okay.
basically has to give up somebody he loves, you
Yeah.
know, to be a part of what the Spider-Verse is, and that's what the Spider-Verse it is sort of a meta commentary on Spider-Man as a canon. He is a character that is defined by the mistake that he made and the death of his loved ones,
Yeah.
you know? That's why Uncle Ben is going to die in every single Spider-Man iteration from here till like years from now. Uncle Ben is like the sacrificial lamb of of uh of all
How
time.
how Miguel was explaining those events reminded me of like do you remember in What If Doctor Strange the turning point which cannot be like fixed? That reminded me of that. And I was like, this is a great detail because this is just another example of like I don't think it was even Marvel just saying like, oh, this is like a connection, whatever. I think this is like it's the canon event that cannot be unturned. Like no matter how much you try, you cannot avoid this person dying.
You
I
can't
think that's
undo it.
yep.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
an invent,
that's
and it's sort of like how do you deal with that? What do you what do you do? Can you just stay by and let it happen and just take somebody else's word that it's for the greater good, or would you stop at nothing to change that event?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's sort of like it's so emotional. It's such a raw sort of turn of events that it's and it was just when he got into the group and he was like, "Oh wow, there's spider people. They're just like me. Why haven't I been invited?" And then you find out and it's like a you know what it's like a piano just dropped on your lap. It's like, "Oh my god." You
They
know,
they had
it's
they had a specific reason as to why he wasn't picked, and the storyline as to when I saw from the first Spider-Verse into now, I'm like, this is great detail telling. This makes so much
yeah.
sense. This is great. I loved it.
Yeah. I liked it too. I was very impressed by it. I don't think I was like hyped up for it, but then when I think what got me in was the scene when Gwen opened up to when her father found out that she was Spider Woman, or
Oh, okay.
George Captain
Yes.
Stacy,
Yes.
and just how they told that scene is fantastic. Like they basically took all of their crayons and markers and pencils and stuff, dumped it on the floor, and just created a tapestry. And it's just basically an emotional conversation between a father and a daughter. And it is like I was just like looking at this, and I'm just like, who? How did they even think about this? It is something that I've never seen before.
I I love the dialogue. It hit my heart, but the tapestry behind it distracted me so much. I in certain parts of the movie, I looked at how much some of the color and the scene was shifting. It wasn't it wasn't a bad thing, but like it was distracting at some points. You get what I mean?
I would say it's distracting in a good way
Yeah.
because the artwork, like AI, can't do this, or
Yeah.
or
Okay.
at least not yet. But they're trying. I mean, I just saw the Secret Invasion with Nick Fury, and the credits, the opening credit scene is AI.
Oh, did you saw it this morning?
Yeah, I looked at it before the show, and I'm just like, oh my god, they don't really care about artists, do they?
Is
Like
it bad?
Marvel. It's I mean, it's AI imagery. It is what it is, It's
Hmm.
um they didn't really do anything creative with it. It's just, it's just an opening of a show. It's but the motif is basically the scroll thing, so it's a lot of green.
Oh
It's just a
boy.
lot of green buildings and green faces and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
it didn't like strike out at me because I've seen better AI stuff online. I mean, I've seen AI people dancing and then putting AI stuff on it and make it look
Hmm.
like people, make it look like Al Pacino or something like that. It's I mean, it's here. There's nothing we could do about it.
Hmm.
We just have to accept it. I'm researching a lot about it, and I'm planning on like incorporating it in some way to my stuff. So unless they're coming to kill us, I think AI is fine. I'm not
I
completely sold on it, but I'm okay with it.
I think AI is just like a useful tool. I don't believe in the conspiracy of like how it's gonna take over and like it's gonna destroy us like freaking Skynet from freaking Terminator. I think like I think I don't remember who said this. It was somebody on Joe Rogan where it said if
Mm.
AI was that smart, we wouldn't be able to survive a less than a day. Because if reality, like we're controlling the robots. If robots were able to control and duplicate themselves, we'd be fucked. Like there's no coming back from that. But at the end of the day, we could shut that down if we wanted to. So I think like people like underestimate like oh no, they overestimate like how smart some robots actually are. But anyway, that's a conspiracy podcast, and I don't feel like getting into that.
Yeah, that's a whole other 4 hour conversation right there. And I think some artists should be worried. Not all though. I mean,
I think editors should be worried, honestly.
yeah. Um,
Graphic art specifically.
graphic arts for sure. Graphic arts. I saw an app that cuts interviews. Like you have, if you have like an interview with a couple of people talking to each other, it cuts to whoever's talking. So
I saw that for
by
podcasts.
itself. Yeah. So, but I mean, how good can that be? It's I don't know if it's there yet. I mean, it will be there at
I
some point.
mean, it's just like the auto captions. Like it's good,
Yeah.
but then there's always like a misspell or like it didn't catch this. Like it's not
Yeah.
perfect. So there
Yeah.
and obviously like when you're editing something as editors, we speak for ourselves, but there's a touch that a computer can't make. So
True. True. So across the Spider-Verse, I think another one of my favorite characters in that was Hobie Brown. And it was Daniel
oh,
Kaluuya. I didn't even know if it was him, and his character was so cool. I kind of
his yeah, Spider Punk was easily top three of like my favorite um characters in that whole thing.
Yeah, I thought about you as soon as I saw him. I was like, "Oh my god, that Trey's gonna love this. Trey's gonna have a ball with this."
Yeah,
And he was so cool. I want to see a movie with just him.
I love the look that they gave him. Like
Yeah,
it made me so happy to like have a character like it. The bullshit physics of the mask, I love it.
yeah,
Absolutely love it.
yeah. It's pretty fantastic. Oh, Ben Riley was in it, and you know who? You know
Yeah.
who's the voice actor for Ben Riley?
Who?
Andy Samberg.
Fuck off. Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God.
There was a
Oh,
lot of but yeah, he was in it. He was pretty good too. I like Ben Riley in it. There was so many nods in this. Like there is it's just an overloading of references. I don't think I caught them all.
I saw one of my favorite Spider-Man ever in that thing, and I
It
was
was Spectacular Spider-Man, wasn't it?
yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
I was over the moon. Like
And I'm like,
fuck.
they really just have Spectacular Spider-Man just chilling here, man. I thought that shit was funny.
How do you feel about them connecting the MCU Spider-Verse to the Sony? Because I saw a lot of people saying like that should not be that should be on its own thing. It shouldn't be connected to this.
Um, I mean, that's what the multiverse as a gimmick is what that is used for. I mean, we're gonna get to Flash in a bit, but like because they did like some really similar things too in that. But when it comes to this, I mean, I guess one, it's animated, so I mean, you could do anything in animation and it's whatever. And two, it just felt like I like the idea of everything being connected because I don't fully take this as serious as say I don't know, like what like a cinematic universe is one thing, but then when you have it in this world, it's kind of like the X-Men movies and then Deadpool, and how
That's a good example. Yeah.
Deadpool kind of lives in it's outside, he lives outside of the Venn diagram, and he can probably connect to anything, and it would kind of work in a way. Like you can get Patrick Stewart in there, you can get young Professor X and old Professor X, and it works for me in Across the Spider-Verse. It doesn't really work when they do it, like I don't think Multiverse of Madness did it well. I don't
No,
think they did it
no,
well at all.
I think the title was misleading. I think if they said dimension something, I think that would have made him a little more sense. But when I say multiverse, this was a multiverse. Like the Spider-Man was a multiverse.
Right, exactly.
The thing that captivated me the most about watching this whole story was like this is literally a growing up story about how the world works, if that makes any
Right.
sense. Like
Yeah.
I think like Miles' mom was giving a lecture about something completely about college, and then it
Yeah.
transferred into the real life, which happens in real life, which I was like, this is great storytelling. I love it.
Yeah, it
Um,
sort of mirrors what the mother is saying. Um, it's funny. The Flash does something very similar and completely falls on his face because it was so on the nose about it. And I'm like, it gave away the ending for the entire movie. And I was like, oh, that's what that was about. You just ruined it in your first act. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I thought
I
that was
get
funny.
that.
The subtlety of how it is. That's why I think, yo, these guys, the guys who wrote this, Phil
Yes.
Lord, Chris Miller, and the filmmakers involved with it, they are so good, and
Oh, yes.
it just astonishes me how and frustrates me actually how they were fired by Lucasfilm. Lucasfilm fired these guys, right?
For what?
They were doing Solo.
Really?
Yeah.
You could not tell. You could not tell.
Well, I mean, they reshot the whole thing. Like a
I
lot of it
know.
was reshot. So,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
but I just thought, why would you get these guys to do a Han Solo movie from the jump? You know what I mean? Like you just basically just hired them because they're a name. Because they did I think they did a Lego movie at that point. And
Oh no.
I think they did
Wow.
I think they did 22 Jump Street, 21 and 22 Jump Street. I
These
think.
projects are vastly confusing. Like these sound like polar opposites of what these guys made compared to like
Yeah, but I'm glad they
wow.
got fired because at least because now they're making Spider-Verse movies and they're winning Oscars and they like Sony has proven themselves that they can make, you know, movies and then they don't have to like have a deal with Marvel, you know what I mean? So they can go off on their own thing and make their own thing.
How did you feel about the ending?
The ending, how it just stops. Well, I didn't like how it
Yes.
stops. I don't like that at all.
I verbally yelled out loud in the movie theater. I verbally yelled with everyone listening. I yelled "fuck off." I'm like,
I mean,
there's no fucking way it ends that way. No.
I said that at Fast and Furious, the Fast X. So
Oh
I mean,
Jesus
I feel
Christ. No,
I know what you
no,
feel.
very different types of fuck off. Very different. The Fast and Furious X was like fuck off. I don't care. I'm glad it's done. This one was like like this. You got just like that. No, no, no. You're finishing this shit. Finish it. That pissed me off.
Give me an ending, man.
No, I
I gotta
wanted
wait a whole year.
you know what? I was actually like I had a hint because I looked at my watch because I got a message on my watch and I looked at the time and I went, this is going on pretty long. Like and at a certain point it didn't feel like a climax was happening. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, how long is this movie actually?
And I felt like it didn't have a climax. You know what I mean? Like there is a point
No.
that happens where you're like, oh my god, and then the movie sort of dies down, and then it goes to and like when Empire did it.
Oh
Um,
my God,
you,
yeah.
they you have the big fight. You know this is the end of the thing. They have the big fight. Darth Vader says, "I'm your father." He's like, "No." He loses. Falls off the thing. Then he gets rescued, and then by the end, they're like looking at Lando fly off to save Han. So you know, you kind of feel like it's dying down. Like it's the music is telling you, yeah, we're about to end this now. So you
Right.
guys can see us in the next 3 years. Okay, bye. You know, you actually have something when it just cuts like that, like you're just getting good. You're just gonna stop the movie.
I think it might be the only movie to get away with it, honestly. Just given of like what the storytelling was, do I think that the way it ended should be there? Fuck no. I think it should have ended on like a really dramatic cliffhanger, but
I mean, you
to
can't get more dramatic than the evil version of you.
no
That's like
no
very comic book.
Did you okay, let me get back to that second. But did you when he jumped into the wrong verse, did you know right away? Or were you
I
surprised?
did not.
Okay,
There were probably some nods there that, like, if you, I bet you if I look at that movie again, I will probably see, like, in his apartment, in his
yes.
room, there are probably things in the background that hints to that being a different universe.
Yes, that
I just
makes yeah, I didn't think
I
about
just
that.
didn't pick it
Yeah.
up. I just didn't even pick it up. I mean, they're so good, they probably did that. But I loved that twist. I thought it was fantastic. I loved it.
Val didn't understand for a piece of it because like she didn't follow along with like the spider twist thing. So
Yeah,
she was like, why is he glitching? And I said he's in the wrong verse because you know how like everything was backwards and then the audience kind of slowly picked up like, oh, like his mom's not there and like Gwen's in the wrong place, like that type of thing. When the
yeah.
audience picked that up, oh my god, I've never felt the audience get so intense for a very long time since Endgame. That was amazing storytelling. I cannot praise that more than I should. Oh my god.
When he glitched, I was like, oh shit.
When he glitched, I went, "Oh my god. Yes, it's coming." I thought something good was coming. And then
and I and then when they
oh,
ended it, I was like, oh no, don't do that. Don't
when
do this to me.
I looked and I saw Uncle Aaron, I went, "Oh shit." I actually thought, you know what? I this wasn't like not even like a joke thing. I actually thought in this universe, uh, Uncle Aaron was Miles Morales' stepfather.
Oh,
I thought that was the case, like because Maria and the Prowler, like they're cool, and I thought did obviously his father died in this universe, but
yeah.
did they like are they
Did they hook
raising
up?
Miles? Yeah, yeah.
They're
I thought that
raising
was
Miles together. I don't
yeah.
know. They didn't really give me that thing, but it does bring in an interesting side to the story now, because now you have Miles, who, his father's still alive.
Mhm.
He has to make a choice: save him, destroy the universe, or let it be and be a Spider-Man and get the spider trauma. And then you have another version of him who has had that trauma, but he has gone to a darker place. This shit is pretty good. Like, this is really good stuff. I
Yeah,
like this.
the storytelling like for the entire thing was beautiful. And somebody said this online. I'm pretty sure you probably saw this too. Do you
Yeah.
remember in the first Spider-Verse where like Spider-Man and Miles first meet up and their spider senses go off?
Yeah.
Uh, do you remember Miles Morales' colors for his spider senses going off?
Yeah.
Yeah, the green and purple thing for like he was
Yeah.
supposed
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
the Prowler. That was amazing
Oh.
detail.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
this
There were.
because in
Yeah.
yeah, because in this universe he was not supposed to be bit by the spider. He was supposed to be the next Prowler.
Gotcha.
And then
Wow.
yeah, and then when it changed into blue and red, oh my god. I did not pick that up. Somebody on TikTok said this, and I'm like, this is beautiful.
I,
This is great storytelling. I love
I
it.
think I did see that video, but they do subtle shit like that. Like, because I was also looking at the frame rate of the certain characters, because like the frame rate has a completely different meaning as well. I remember in the first one, they, like, some video pointed out that Miles is in a different frame rate from Peter B. Parker.
Yes.
And then when he's training him to swing, Miles, like, his frame rate becomes smoother, and they both become in sync. And,
Yes.
like, dude, there you are taking, like, animation, like the fundamentals of animation, and using it to make the story more immersive. Like, I love this shit. Like, I'm just so geeking out about how they made this.
Yeah.
I really am excited about the third one, and I'm not excited about anything. I think everything sucks.
I agree. I everything is
Everything
terrible.
Everything is terrible. But yeah. Anything else you want to say about
Um, the
any
one thing.
downside?
Oh, I can't. We didn't talk about it.
We forgot about the
I.
spot.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
We forgot about the
I
spot.
I didn't
Yeah.
mind. I enjoyed the spot for who he was in this thing. I enjoyed it.
I'm thinking finally like this character has his day because he was one of my favorites in the 90s Spider-Man cartoon.
Yeah.
And I just thought like visually he was a cool character to do if you do him right. And boy, did they really make good use of that character. Just that whole sequence in the beginning in the bodegas, and Miles is like getting a Jamaican patty, and then freaking freaking Spot like is trying to rob the place, but he doesn't know how his powers work, so he's like messing around. Yo, half my review is just gonna be like, ah, man, this is so good. So I love the cast. Like I'm just looking at the cast list, and I'm just like several great talents. The mother of Miles Morales,
Oof.
the actress is from Dexter, but she's basically the mother of, if your protagonist is Latin, she's basically the mother. Like she's the same actress in Transformers, like the guy, the new guy for who's the new
Yes,
Sam Witwicky. She she's the mother of the guy. So I just thought it was
really.
funny, like within these two movies coming out at this around the same time, and she is the Latina mother. I thought it was I thought that was funny.
That's actually kind of funny.
Yeah, but she's great. She's great. And then you got Haley Steinfeld came back as Gwen, and she's fantastic. I think like just how they did her character is so compelling, and what she goes through and how she has to like relate to her father and that whole dynamic.
Hmm.
And I mean, Paperboy from Atlanta, he's the father, and he's always great. Like he's really good in this. I didn't understand why Issa Rae's character, Jessica Drew, why she was pregnant and in a
I I
battle.
I don't know. It didn't bother me so much, but like it's kind of a weird detail to put a pregnant character with no side effects in it. It's kind of like I actually thought at some point during the movie like her water was gonna break and she had to stop being Spider Woman and that would cause something, but nothing happened. So
Yeah, I was
I
thinking like the baby would have popped out and swing away, or she would like the birth canal would like sprout a webbing or something. Like I don't know. It was weird to me. And why is Peter B. Parker bringing his baby into
he's
like an action sequence? Like
because he's Spider-Man and he's not smart. Like that was actually the thing I expected. I'm gonna be honest. I expected that shit.
why are they bringing babies into this shit, man? This is a
They dre-
war zone.
they dress up in a spider onesie and that's your main concern?
Yeah, man, that is my main concern. This like they're
Damn.
bringing children, like they got children out here, like in this in like open war, and it's all honky dory. Like, nah, son, nah,
I
keep them babies at home.
I mean shit, if I had
Keep.
MJ looking like that, I would stay at home too.
Wow, that's wow, interesting.
If I was Spider-Man, dude, come on. Not real life.
All right,
Fuck off, Link.
sure, dude. I mean, yeah, what do you,
Fuck
bro?
off.
Do you?
Fuck you. You damn well know if you had an MJ looking like that at home, you would stay home too.
Yeah, if it was a cartoon man,
Yes, a cartoon. I'm saying in cartoon, not real
yeah.
life. There's no one that looks like that here.
All right. But
Shut
yeah,
up. Shut up.
I dig this. Even though there are some problems, I think the structure of the movie, I think it has problems, but I really did enjoy this. I think Spider-Man Unlimited was there.
Yeah, I
Spider-Man the video game was in there.
oh my god, Childish Gambino. I forgot about him.
The Childish Gambino thing. Yeah. I was wondering if people would have understood that reference. And I was
In
like,
my theater, a lot of people did. It
okay, well, good. I thought that was pretty clever. I would say that's pretty clever.
was a great detail. I actually
Yeah.
was surprised, like how I was like, already? Shit.
Did not expect that one. I think that one was the one that was just like, wow, that is wow. They really and they put him in the costume and everything. Damn. And they like it was like actually him. Like it wasn't like an artwork or something like that. It was
It was actually him.
an actual Childish Gambino. So yeah, I recommend Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Across the Universe, Across the Spider-Verse. I think it was a really good time. I think it was pretty good. Way too many nods. I'm gonna have to look at it again to see like just to count them all. But yeah, if you're a Spider-Man fan, that's the movie. I wouldn't say it's the best Spider-Man movie, but it's up there. I think it's my top three, maybe.
I agree with that too. Top
Yeah.
three.
All right. So with all this talk about multiverses and multiple timelines and all that stuff and changing the past and stuff like that, it kind of brings us to the topic of everybody's conversation right now, and it's The Flash. And the reason
Oh
why it's
man.
on everybody's, you know, uh, well, first of all, it was very overhyped. It was a movie that has been in talks to being released. Like they announced it when 2000, like early last decade, and it took like about like 10 years or so for it to finally get released. And I would have to say it looks exactly what one should expect from a movie that's been delayed and re-edited and reshot and having like been through like three different Warner Brother regimes and stuff like that. Like it is a complete and utter mess.
Yes.
This is the best way I can really describe it. Like it is basically Henry Cavill's upper lip, but an entire film of that.
Oh God. It's Henry Cavill's upper lip rating. Yeah, that's exactly what that is. Oh Jesus Christ. I don't even know where to begin with this.
Yeah, I'm actually struggling to like really piece
Fuck.
together what should I say about it. But
Do you okay? I'm gonna say my two most hated things about this whole thing.
yeah.
I hated um Michael Keaton as Batman in this thing. I'm not saying he was a bad Batman. He didn't belong in this specific one. And number two, um, the beginning part of the Flash movie where he was with his own world, dealing with superhero shit, was more entertaining than anything that was happening after that. Um,
Uh, wait, which scenes are you talking about?
the hospital scene
Oh, you're talking
where,
about when he was like trying to save all the CGI falling babies?
yeah, and that was more. I have n- absolutely no fucking clue why this was more entertaining than anything else after that.
I
And
would I would agree with you. I think like that sequence, it first of all, it's very like superhero-ish. It's very Flash. It's very, he's getting a call from Batman. He's trying to get a sandwich. He's low on energy because he needs to like refuel with food every so often. It's such a good way to jump into the movie where
yeah,
you have like a previous character saying, Barry, we need you for this thing. And then I just thought that whole opening sequence was really good. Like I even with the CGI being like really bad, like my wife looked over to me and was like, "Oh my god, is this going to be dumb?" because because the like she got to the part where like the babies are falling out of the window, and at that point I'm laughing my ass off. Like I'm
oh, I
like
am
because
too.
I'm just like, oh my god, these babies are gonna fall out the. Oh my god, they did throw babies out of the window. Now he has to go up and save them, kind of like Spider-Man 3,
Yeah, yeah. Oh God.
which still looks better but mind you, like that movie came out what 2007. That looks
Yep.
better than this, and it shouldn't. Like
The babies look like Twilight babies.
they were Twilight babies. They were. That's exactly what I thought. So Flash has to like catch all these Twilight babies. He puts one in the freaking microwave, man. What the
Oh my
hell?
god, I think I'm not the only one that knows that. Oh my god.
Why did he do that?
I don't know. I think he was like
I was
trying to like
confused.
that. Okay, that one I remember him like because the baby was too close to a fire, and
Right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I thought in my head the microwave is metal. It will still heat up. Like I don't understand how that's gonna help anything. Like why? And then also the dog falling from the building, and Jesus Christ, that the whole thing up until the baby scene was great. Gal Gadot fetish DC has just showed up for no reason, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
You
Why?
know, out of all of the Snyder stuff, I think the one thing that I really sort of gravitate to is probably Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman for some reason. I just think like I looked at the I did the Warner Brothers tour on their lot, and they basically have like statues of Wonder Woman, and when they have all the suits and everything like,
Yeah, yes, I've seen that. I
but
was in there too.
yeah,
Yeah.
but in the entrance there is like a big Wonder Woman statue, and I just thought, they really did do a good job at putting her at the center of like DC. Like they made like a lot of mistakes with a lot of the characters and the storylines or whatever, but I don't know. I thought that Wonder Woman had something. There was something there. There was
You think
like
she could have been?
she
You think?
kind of reached like um uh, Christopher Reeves level, like almost there, like not quite there, but almost there. Like she could have been
Yep.
like on the same level as Christopher Reeves as
You might
Superman.
you might be onto something there. Yeah.
Because
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm actually like kind of depressed more than anyone else that she's not going to be Wonder Woman anymore. Like when I saw
I can
her
see
in the
why.
movie, yeah, when I saw her in the movie, I was like, oh man, she's not going to do this again. Like there's not going to be, wow,
I think like
really hit
yeah,
me.
you might actually be onto something because I think like Gal Gadot, like I was hesitant as to her as Wonder Woman, and now that I've seen it over the years, I'm like, you know what? She's great. I love it.
She
But
works.
I think that cameo in the Flash just was a little like a little bit weird, but I
Like
guess
it
like
just came out of nowhere.
yeah, but then also like if I had known what was to come afterwards, I wouldn't have felt the way I felt.
Well, you mean because the James Gunn just kind of came out and said like, yeah, basically these movies are pretty
Done.
much we're not
No,
building a universe with these movies. It's lame duck movies.
oh, Jesus Christ. I completely forgot about like okay, during this whole thing, I forgot about Ezra Miller being a piece of shit because he is a piece of shit, but god damn, he can act, dude. I will not take that away from him. He can act.
I would say through the doing the dramatic parts, he did bring it. Like I really felt for his character. I think it's hard to even compare him to like Grant Gustin because I think Ezra brings like a different type of energy to it. So it's
He
not really like the same.
he feels like Billy Cranston from Power Rangers.
What? I don't.
So in the way that he's like he's quirky when like he's around like his friends, but then when he's serious and like he has to get things done, he turns into like a super genius that like has to make sure everything is like straightforward and like it has to work, like that type of thing. I'm not comparing the
Okay, okay,
personalities, I'm comparing like the character structure basically is what I'm trying to say.
okay, okay. Gotcha. So, there are you would say it's like a mixed bag then, like the movie itself.
I oh, not even a mixed bag. I just think it was bad, man. Like I went with my dad to see it because Val didn't want to see it. I went
How
with my
did he?
dad.
Yeah. What
My
did he
dad
think?
my dad fell asleep during everything fell asleep when the Batman stuff started happening.
Wow, that's probably some of the best stuff in the movie, actually.
No,
Like the
I
Ben
thought
Affleck stuff, right?
no, like the Michael Keaton Batman stuff.
Automatic. Okay, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that like when it got slow, and then it got to Michael Keaton, and my dad just looked struggling to keep his eyes open.
Yeah, I can see his point. I overall I think the movie is bad. Like there is no kind of way about it. I think what kind of holds it together is that I feel like it's done by filmmakers who actually get it, like get the comic book. Like it kind of reminds me of Daredevil, where the movie's bad, you can tell like the director read the comic books. You
Yes,
can
yes,
tell it's not done with a wink. It's not done it like the if there's a joke, it's not you're not laughing at the material. You're sort of laughing with the material. You know what I'm saying?
yes,
Like sort of compare this to like the last few Marvel stuff that came out. Like it just feels so. Not only is it generic, but it also feels very condescending in a little way.
mm-hmm,
They don't really care about the material. They don't like these new the writers. They don't read comic books. They don't get the comic book storytelling. They don't. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
They just poke fun at it. They think it's stupid. You can tell like from She-Hulk or something like that. There is a heart to it. It doesn't feel heartless. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like there's a passion behind what they were trying to do. And I think like having certain ideas, you could tell like they gave a shit about the Flash comic books and how to represent it properly. And I think one of the best details was like the new idea of making the Speed Force into a sample. I actually really enjoyed that little detail because that was very different and I liked it.
Well, oh yeah. Well, let's touch on that. In the comic books, the idea of the Speed Force and just everything that has to do with like the time traveling and how his powers work and all of that is very difficult to really show on screen. Like it's very like the Flash TV show was very they've struggled to really put those concepts together on screen, I feel. And
Yes.
and a lot of times they did do well. I won't
Mm-hmm.
like completely shit on them. I think they did as much as they could on a TV budget, but even the 90s TV show, like they barely, you know, did time travel. They did time travel for like one episode. And they couldn't really the technology wasn't there to really tell those types of stories. But here, I think even with the CGI that's very unfinished, looks very unfinished. I think conceptually they were able to tell that part of the story and to show, it's a very big swing. And
Yes.
and I think it was one of the few things that actually worked. Like it didn't
Mm-hmm.
always look good. Like there's some like CGI humans that looked really rough.
Right.
But like for example, when Barry goes back, saves his mom, and he sees everything change around him. Like he sees, you know, there's new memories being made of her because she didn't die back then. And she's like, you know, teaching him how to shave and
Yeah.
at his 18th birthday and all of these sort of things. And you're seeing that is very beautiful. I thought that was a beautiful touch. Like to show that because I was very worried about how like because I knew he was gonna get into the Speed Force and it was gonna be like very abstract and I'm like oh god this is gonna be bad. But that was
Yeah.
one of the elements that actually worked. Another thing I liked about it was when he met his younger self. I think that storyline was well done, and I'll tell you why.
So from the way that they wrote it and then the way how it ended, I
Oh,
honestly
absolutely.
I didn't see how it was going until it got to where it was ending, and I'm like, you know what? That makes so much fucking sense. I enjoyed it.
Like it kind of subvert your expectations a little bit because you're expecting like there would be like a final battle and it would just be like CGI nonsense, which it was. It was a lot of
Yeah,
fighting and whatever. But then when it actually reveals what the story is about, really, it's about basically him meeting his younger self and then sort of corrupting him in a kind of way, which is kind of difficult to say because it's Ezra Miller and he's like a groomer and all that sort of thing. But yet now that I think about it, it really puts dark
it's really dark when
a
you put it
dark
like that.
color over the movie. Yeah. But that's basically what he does. He creates a monster out of his younger self. And
Yeah,
it does bring the question, if you meet your younger self, would you try to make him do different things?
no, because then you might make something worse out of what you try to avoid.
Yeah. And you wouldn't be
You
you.
anymore. Yeah, I think it was actually Val who, not even to get deep, it was just like a reality check for me. She was like, no matter what you did in your past, you still end up being you and you end up being the man I'm with. So what does that say about what the choices you made? And obviously the it really depends on like what choices you actually made. Like if you killed someone, you're unredeemable. But like let's
Yeah.
say you have done some heinous shit in your younger years where you don't know any better and the real world hasn't hit you yet, you still have time to change. But to answer your question, if you could go back and just like talk to your younger self, I think there'll be some crucial stuff that you could avoid to make certain things seem less dark. But I think overall, like when a person has to go through something to make them more into themselves, you
Yeah.
can't change that.
Like there's all it's a flip of a coin, basically. Like you
Mm-hmm.
are changing certain things. So but the thing is the best things in your life would never come to pass if you change your past.
I
You
think
know what I mean?
do you think that during this movie at some point do you think that this was kind of like not even a metaphor, kind of like a story of saying no matter how bad you have it, it could always be worse if things were different?
You could draw from that. But I think it's mostly, I mean, they kind of spell it out for you. You basically have to let go of things that you want. Like there's certain things that you look back in your life and you're like, man, I wish I didn't do that, or man, I wish I didn't mess around with that bitch. Something like that.
Yeah.
But but those moments sort of make you who you are and brought you to where you are. So might as well just let it go and live life now.
um yeah,
And that's what he learns, basically.
he is. And on the same subject, when they were in the Speed Force and he was going back multiple times and he ended up like having shards everywhere on it, I thought this was going to be he was going to turn to Zoom.
Yeah, I guess they didn't go that way.
They didn't, but when I saw how he was transforming slowly into something demonic, I thought this is going to be the main villain. I thought this was going to be like a Flash versus Reverse Flash or a Flash versus Zoom. I thought it was going to be something like that. But the way that they explained how time travel worked in this made so much sense that I actually enjoyed how it was plotted out.
I mean, I don't know if it makes like a lot of sense, but it was. I mean, you do have to go along with it. Like time being like a spaghetti bowl. Like I was like at that scene where Batman was explaining it. First off, I'm thinking, how does Batman know about this? And then second of all, I'm like, uh, okay. Like it took me a while to like really like, okay, this is the universe. This is how this works. Fine, I'll go along with it.
Like it took you a while to piece it together.
Not really piece it together, but just to go along with it, as in how the this is how it works.
Yeah, okay,
Like
yeah.
I don't know if it worked for me initially, but then I was like, well, yeah, it explains how This is how why Batman is 89 instead of Ben Affleck and all that sort of thing. So I'm like okay with it. I loved Ben Affleck in this.
Yes, I think this he was probably like number three on stars of this whole thing.
Yeah, I really liked. I think the scene when he's sort of like the voice of reason in Barry's head. I like that dynamic. I think it's one of the better dynamics in the film. Ben Affleck put in work in the little that he's in. I think he got it. I think he finally got. You know,
He felt like
he,
Batman in this one.
yeah, that felt like a Bruce Wayne thing that he would say. Like he's So even though the action scene did feel really CGI, like it just felt really like I'm like, where's the PlayStation controller? It was a bit much. It was a bit much, but I dig it. I dug it. I think
How did you
Iris
feel?
West. Wait, sorry, what you were saying?
Oh, no. I want to talk about that first. Go ahead.
Okay, so Irish Iris West, I think is probably that relationship was probably not the greatest part of this of the movie at all. I didn't like it.
You know
I didn't
what?
like
You didn't like it?
no, I didn't like how it was written. I just thought like they didn't seem like they liked each other.
There
It
was
seemed
no
like
there was
no
no
chemistry.
chemistry. You know what? I truly, in my heart of hearts, believe that the actress knew who Ezra Miller was and wanted nothing to do with him.
It kind of felt that way, or they just met like for the first time. But I did like when he was, of course, it's a very Flash thing. They've done it in every single iteration of the Flash where they have him use the speed to fix up his apartment because he's a slob, so he would always like before
Yeah.
he brings a woman in. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
Flash has been doing that for decades. And they had
Yeah,
to put
yeah.
it in the movie somehow.
Yeah, it makes sense. And but I like who they chose to play Iris. I don't mind that
She's
Iris is now
okay. She's
I
fine.
don't mind that she's like slowly becoming canon a black woman. I kind of enjoy that.
I guess so. I mean, the Flash TV show kind of is she another redhead? Like they really
Yes, they did. They're getting rid of
it,
all the redheads.
she's getting rid of all the redheads. I mean, are, do they? Does Hollywood or do they consider gingers as people? Like that's what I'm wondering right now.
Well, yeah, they clearly do since like they made the a ginger a main character for the next Star Wars video game trilogy thing.
Well, that's one, but I'm sure in the next 20 years he's going to be like replaced with like Denzel Washington's grandson or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So
I wouldn't mind that. I would love to see a black Star Wars character get some fucking screen time.
wait, what about what's his name?
Ben,
Yeah, Finn.
he doesn't no, he didn't get fucking screen time. He got cheated.
Yo,
You know this, dude. Come on.
what do I know? That Finn was a marketing ploy to get people excited over a black Jedi and then completely pull the rug under you?
Ding 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 ding.
Oh, JJ Abrams, you rascal, you. I hope he never directs again. Anyway, so yeah, I do like the scenes with Barry and Barry. It wasn't as terrible as I expected. There are some terrible stuff. There are a lot of jokes that falls flat. There are some that actually works. I think every time like when the young Barry finds out how to vibrate through things,
Mm-hmm.
and then the movie just turn cranks the crazy up to 12, and then he just runs across the world, not the world but the
Oh,
city.
you know what? I like that. I liked how it looked.
It's not the worst running scene. There's a lot of terrible running scenes in this movie. First of all, he can't like Ezra cannot run great as Flash. For some reason, he's doing like this like ballet shit, and then he's running slower as he's running faster when his arms should be like I think they got it right in the Grant Gustin show where his arms are like
Right?
moving like really really fast.
No, no. I actually The when they run really, really fast, it looks like a massage controller on my skin. It's
What?
those massage machines that the chiropractors
Yeah.
use to like and it vibrates
Yeah.
really fast, what makes your skin like vibrate. When I see Grant Gustin's Flash run like that, it makes me laugh. I'm not saying like Ezra's is any better, but I think like if they ran like track stars, I think
Yeah.
it would look a lot better. But I for Ezra Miller's running scene at the beginning, I didn't mind it because it reminded me of the speed running from Eternals.
Ah, yes. What do you think of it about his suit?
Uh, I don't know. I'm like 50-50 about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
I don't think I prefer his Zack Snyder suit, to be honest.
I agree. I'll tell you what, I think Zack Snyder, in terms of the visuals, just the costumes, and actually seeing the costumes up close, they are fucking amazing, man. Like they are
The details on them.
fantastic. The
Oof.
detail, like the the Flash suit up close looks badass. Like it looks so cool.
Yeah,
And the Aquaman and all that sort of thing. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of this particular suit. What'd you think about Supergirl?
I was thoroughly disappointed. I was so excited for her too, and that was my own fault for being excited.
Yeah. Well, there wasn't really a lot
No, but even
for her to do.
I know, but there was enough for like to even make something out of like this dramatic mess.
Sasha Callie is her name. I think she's a fine actress, but there's just nothing for her. There's nothing.
I think you could even tell, like at certain points, like the actors, especially General Zod,
Yeah.
stopped giving a shit about any of what was happening.
I am convinced that he didn't do anything but sit in a room and then they just took video of his face. Like I don't believe that he was on set at all. Like he probably
No,
literally phoned his performance in because
he was awful.
he didn't look real.
You could tell he was there for the paycheck and did not give a shit about any of what was happening.
Yeah, I mean he was a last minute. I think he was a last minute addition. I don't know for a fact, but it just seems like that.
Do you think he was part of the rewrite and then like that struggle just to get him?
I think so. I really think so because I mean he's barely in the movie. It's like a cameo. It's definitely it's like one of the cameos in the end. They just needed a villain and he was there and there it is. That's it.
Overall, like from just like everything you experienced, do you think that this is the end of like the Zack Snyder thing and like hopefully the James Gunn is going to revive everything now?
Well, now I'm wondering if there is going to be any more DC movies at this point because I mean this movie flopped hard. I mean it was a very very soft opening. I don't know if it's going to recover. I mean there's new movies coming out after that. Indiana Jones is coming out and that might be
That's
a
gonna flop.
well I think that's going to flop too. I think it has the same problem as 89 Batman does. Cuz I mean who under 40 has or 35 or 30 maybe remembers the old 92 Batman. Like who has that? Like I would be excited because 89 was my year. Like I was into Batman hardcore at that point. But I mean everybody's anybody younger, that's like Christian Bale era people. Christian Bale was their Batman. So I mean, who's under 30 is going to be excited for Michael Keaton's Batman? Is what I'm saying. Like the demographic for that, and you
Me,
have that, and then you have two Ezra Millers, and then like a Supergirl who nobody knows. Nobody knows who this actress is. There's not really a lot to be excited about if you really like if you're a normie, if you're completely out of the know, maybe you would have heard like of Ezra Miller's shenanigans and that's like, well, why is he still in the movie? I'm not going to watch that. That's he's a groomer, he's a this, he's a that, you know?
I think like a multiple things like came together to this abomination of an opening. Like it, like from even like people were saying they were boycotting, saying that they were not going to see the Flash because of Ezra Miller's grooming and
Yeah.
shit. And then just like seeing the review, it was so weird because I've heard people say it was like one of the best superhero movies to come out. And then when I watched it, I was like, this is not even close. What the fuck?
Yeah, as soon as I saw that the CGI babies, those Twilight babies, I was like, man, James Gunn and them were bullshit. They knew that like they were going to start over, and I think they did make a mistake of announcing that they were going to wipe the slate clean after these crop of movies. I think that is a big hit to a blow to this. I think the Ezra Miller stuff that hit it as well. I think the excitement from Michael Keaton was misguided. I think my age people were seeing it for that. Anyone younger would probably not care as much. And then you have like this movie has been in development for however long, and how many not great DC movies came out before that? Like you have a slew of DC movies that were very underwhelming. So and
Yep.
it sucks because this is a good story. This is actually, and it's based off of a good story.
It's a tragedy, honestly, because I actually
Yeah,
like I'm looking forward to DC stuff, but now I'm I don't even know now.
I don't want to see DC for a while. Like I don't know if I'll go see that Aquaman thing.
I'm
I
not
don't know
seeing
if
that.
Aquaman's gonna.
I'm not seeing it. I don't want to be I'll see it when it comes out on streaming, but I'm not gonna see it like when it comes out in theaters. And that's specifically because of the Amber Heard shit. Just seriously just don't want to watch it because of her.
Fair enough. And I just think it's a perfect storm of the worst things that could happen around a movie happening at the same time, and people didn't go for it. They tried to sell it. They were like, it's going to be fun, go out and see it. Look, it's Michael Keaton. Look, it's Michael Keaton. Look, he said the thing. He said the nuts line. He said the nuts line, and who gives a shit about the like that was the worst line of the old Batman movie because it wasn't Batman.
That was
That wasn't a
Bruce
Batman
Wayne.
thing to say. It was not a Bruce Wayne thing to say.
And it was also like one of the weirdest places to put that line.
Yeah, they were nuts to put that line in. Let's talk about the cameos quick before we
Okay.
we go.
Okay.
Like the I think the that's where it's sort of like the soul, the little soul that the movie had left completely. Where I was just looking at Nicolas Cage fight a
Oh,
goddamn giant spider. But people would not understand the context of that. If you would have known the story that Kevin Smith told on one of his speaking things,
yes.
where you know the story, right? Where
Yes,
where
I do.
he was writing Superman Lives, and the whole thing about the producer wanting Superman to fight a giant spider, and Tim Burton was directing and all that sort of thing. And it would have
Yes.
been interesting. It would have been interesting if Nicolas Cage was actually there and he actually interacted with the characters. That would have been something.
Yes,
Because
I agree.
then it would be like, oh my god, it's freaking Nicolas Cage in a as Superman, and he's with Michael Keaton Batman, and they're like, that would have been crazy.
Yes.
But they didn't do that. They just cartooned the whole thing, and it was kind of cool to see Christopher Reeves and Helen Slater there, like the Supergirl of that era. And yeah, it's cute, it's nice, but uh,
Yeah,
it,
I'm
it's like it's key jangling, man. It's complete key jangling, and they didn't have Grant Gustin in there or John Wesley Shipp, and I'm disappointed by that. And but I actually liked Michael Keaton as Batman in it. I thought he was fine, but I was wondering, would it have been better if it was Jeffrey Dean Morgan? It would have, tied everything to, the Zack Snyder stuff, and it would have been just better for me. It would have meant more to me, especially as a fan of the original story from the comic books. But that's the thing. If you are into Michael Keaton's Batman, you would like this kinda, but it would only be like sort of surface level. Like I don't think it really like compare this to like No Way Home. It doesn't even compare. I think they did a better job at No Way Home at um at, giving weight to Toby and Andrew in that their Spider-Mans, like we get to see them continue that story, and then it sort of ends in a happier place for them.
Hmm.
I felt they did that a bit better than they did it with Batman. I felt Batman was there because they needed an action guy. They needed a guy to get them from A to B.
Yep.
He has a jet, he has transportation, he gets you to where you need to be. Um but Michael Keaton was pretty good, and he was compelling, and I didn't understand why he didn't want to help them from the jump.
Because Batman's not going to say yes because Batman is Batman and he needs to be mysterious and it's the character trope that I kind of understand, but I
I
couldn't buy
don't
it.
know if it I don't know if it works here though.
He this character of Batman does not work in this universe. It doesn't. I
I
think Christian
just
Bale would have been a better choice.
possibly. No, actually no. Nah, I just
Why?
can't see I can't see Christian Bale in like the CGI, you know, the fake landscape and all that sort of thing. Like I don't want to. It would taint the Christopher Nolan realism that I like so much about that Batman. You know what I mean?
Do you I remember a long time ago there was a rumor about Jeffrey Dean Morgan being played as Batman's father for the Flashpoint thing. I wish that was real.
I believe that was in the runnings in the like maybe in a previous regime of Warner Brothers. I'm sure somebody had that in a script or somebody had that idea. Because I mean, why would you hire Jeffrey Dean Morganson for like or Jeffrey Dean Morgan? Jeffrey
Yes.
Dean Morgan. Why would you hire Jeffrey Dean Morgan for just one scene in the first in his first appearance in
Yeah.
that movie? You somebody probably had a plan, but those plans kind of changed because you don't have a head. Say what you will about Marvel, at least they had like somebody in there to keep everything together. Like there's a Kevin Feige and that's why I think, even though I'm very, skeptical about it at this point, I think James Gunn, because James Gunn, first and foremost, is a writer. So he's a writer,
Hmm.
he's a storyteller. He can tell an amazing story about a raccoon man. All right. So I have no I'm sure some of those movies are gonna be pretty okay. I'm sure it'll be better than this. So I guess that's it for the Flash. Anything else you want to say about it?
No, honestly, no. I'm disappointed because I was actually looking forward to it, seeing the reviews, but now I actually saw it and I'm like, fucking hell. That was my dad's Father's Day present for God's sake.
Wow. Damn. You could have Man, you could have did a little bit better than that. you
We
you could have
we
stayed
did it
home.
we no, we did it in VIP theater, so there was that.
Okay.
So it was
Okay, well
something.
at least the seats were comfortable so you could have a really good nap.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But I didn't hate it, but this isn't a good movie. This isn't good.
No. I think it's like appetizable if you are watching it drunk or high, honestly.
For sure, especially with the falling babies. Like I I can't tell you how much I laughed at that. Like I laughed at it after I left the cinema. I was like, "Oh my god, remember those babies?" Then he put a baby in a microwave, and then he had a burrito, and then did you see him eat that burrito? Like, come
That's it.
on, man.
Yeah, I saw it. It was like
Did you see that?
It was Flash-esque, but it was not needed for that.
So across the Spider Verse,
Hmm.
I think it's like a 8.5. Like it's a
Yep.
solid 8.5. I think the first one's a 9. Like
Yeah, I agree
or
with that. I agree with that rating too.
yeah. The Flash, I would say like 5.5.
I say it's a solid five, and it's struggling just to keep that five.
Damn. Okay. Yeah, I can't argue that. Is there anything else terrible about it? Like what? Oh, George Clooney showed up in the end,
Oh my fucking god!
which
Oh, I was so pissed off.
which was beautiful. Like that is such a
Oh,
perfect troll. I I respect it so much. Actually, you know what? it gives it a whole star. I give it a
Really?
6.
Just
Yeah,
for Clooney?
just for bringing George Clooney. I laughed so
I
hard.
laughed at that too, and my dad looked at that thing and he was laughing, and I just looked at him. I went, "Fucking hell, really?" And then I heard someone in the theater whisper "bat nipples," and that made me laugh a little bit more. So I'm like, okay, all right. It wasn't taken seriously, so you know what? Yeah, I'll give it a pass. It's fine.
I mean the DC movies are a joke. So the fact that you're just gonna be like, come on,
Yeah,
George Clooney.
let's put bobblehead Batman in this. Yeah, that's great.
I loved it. And he didn't even shave to be Batman,
No,
too.
he didn't give a shit.
He didn't give a shit. He's like, Warner Brothers just called him, is like, hey, George, we're gonna need you to come in for a shot. Please, George. Remember
You
all
were
those remember all those good times we had when you were in ER and you had to like shoot Batman and Robin at the same time? Come on, man.
Oh my god.
Come back as Batman just one more time. I loved it. It's best camp. You know what? Fuck it. It's the best cameo in the movie. I'll say that.
You know what? Just for the sake of simplicity, I'll agree with you on this one too. The I don't want to see any more George Clooney Batman, but you know what? I'll give this one a pass just for how fucking hilarious it was and how much it actually got a reaction out of me. So you know what? It's good.
Hey, you know what? If somebody tried to make George Clooney come back, somebody if and George Clooney actually says yes, and then George Clooney makes and they make like a really dark, cool, edgy Batman or something like that, I think I might watch it. And
I
if it's
need
just like a one-off, a one and done, I'd watch it.
I need old Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze then. I can't have it. I need him back.
I'd watch that too.
I would
Bring them all
watch
back.
Bring him. No, I don't. I don't want fucking Toothface. I don't want him. Nope.
Oh no, not Two Face, not Two Face. I mean, he's too old anyway. So
He's too old, and I think Jim Carrey would soon unalive himself before going back to being the Riddler.
probably, probably, definitely. But yeah. If Clooney came back, I'd check it out. So, anyways, that's it for the Flash, and thanks for coming out, man. This was
Yeah,
fun.
absolutely. That was fun.
Yeah. Oh, one more question.
What's up?
Does any of your friends, like anybody in your friend group or anything like your age or
Yeah.
younger, or are any of them going to go see Indiana Jones?
Nope. Nope. Even my dad, who's in his 60s, is like he doesn't want to watch it.
And that's the prime demographic for this movie.
Yeah, he does not want to watch it. He's seen enough. He's in his words, he's seen enough Indiana Jones to not want to watch it again.
Well, there you go. There you go. So you know no one who wants to see this movie.
I haven't even seen anyone talk about it. Not even my friends, let alone like even on the internet. No one's even talking about it.
Wow. They did it again.
Yep, they did. And when I see it flop, I'm not gonna be surprised.
Yeah. I can't wait. I can't wait to see the numbers. It's going to be fun. Great job there, Kathy. Great job. Anyways, so signing off. We are out.